Okay, let's get started. Thank you for joining the Sales Forecasting 101. Welcome. Welcome to all of you who are here to learn a little bit about what sales forecasting is. There is a school of thought that if you want to be profitable in your business, then this exercise of forecasting your sales is a must. It's something that you should do if you want to get to business success. Many people start business, they don't really know where their sales are going to go, and they just sort of guess. And then at the end, they're wondering why they're out of business or why they have not made any money. So tonight we're going to talk about sales forecasting and how to do it. It's not a long training, so get ready to take some notes, but it will be packed with some information that will help you. I'm excited to share this class, so be sure to take notes, but also let's close out our emails and Facebook and anything that may distract just for the next few minutes, and we can go ahead and learn a little bit of how to grow your business and become profitable. I always love to start my trainings or anytime I speak with a story. I believe stories help us to really visualize the things that are happening in real life. First, I want to just talk about the fact that starting a business is hard work. Running a business and being profitable in a business is not for the faint of heart. It is for those people who will endure and make the commitment to complete the journey. At the end of the journey is freedom and independence. And so if that's what you're looking for, if you want that freedom, if you want that independence, then starting a business is the right place to be. I believe that business is the ultimate reinvention, especially for women over 50. We're actually the highest rate of people starting businesses in the United States. And a lot of that is because we have spent our years making other people wealthy, using our experience and our expertise. And we've finally figured out that we can take that expertise and those years of experience and make ourselves wealthy. And I'm not talking about just dollars and cents, but living a successful and wealthy life in terms of being able to travel where you want to travel and have the independence and freedom to really live the life that you haven't been able to do because of all the years of being someone's employee. So I commend you for taking this journey of entrepreneurship. And tonight we're going to talk about how to take that to the next level and make you successful. The story of the oyster is more of a poem, and I want to share that poem with you tonight. It really is about triumphing over adversity. And that's something that you need to have if you're going to be successful in anything, but especially in this journey called entrepreneurship. So I'm going to share this poem with you. There once was an oyster whose story I tell, who found that some sand had got into his shell. It was only a grain, but it gave him great pain. For oysters have feelings, although they're so plain. Now, did he berate the harsh working of fate that brought him to such a deplorable state? Did he curse at the government, cry for election, and claim that the sea should have given him protection? No, he said to himself as he lay on a shell, since I cannot remove it, I shall try to improve it. Now the years have rolled around, as the years always do, and he came to his ultimate destiny, a stew. And the small grain of sand that had bothered him so was now a beautiful pearl, all richly aglow. Now, the tale has a moral, for isn't it grand what an oyster can do with a morsel of sand? What couldn't we do if we'd only begin with some of the things that get under our skin? So think about it. Things that bother us and things in business will bother you. There'll be times where you think that a certain client is coming on board, and at the last minute they don't, and you've already planned on this new client or selling a product and it doesn't happen. That can get under your skin. But think of the oyster, overcoming that adversity, improve it, find out ways to make sure that the next time you are in that situation, that client comes on board. So I hope you enjoyed that story. And we're going to get on with tonight's class. What is sales forecasting? Sales forecasting is the process of determining what your future sales will be. It will be the key part of your business planning. It also helps you identify and track startup expenses and forecasted ongoing expenses for the first year of your business and beyond. It doesn't matter whether you're forecasting sales for a startup business or an existing business. It is mostly a guessing game, but this guessing game is based on some predefined factors and assumptions. So it's not just we're just guessing and throwing numbers out. You're not going to just say I'm going to make $50,000 and then you have nothing in place to make sure that at the end of this forecasted period you can actually do that you can sell $50,000, because it doesn't happen that way. There are some factors that we're going to talk about tonight that are going to help you do this with some strategic planning so that at the end, you will end up seeing a profit in your business. It has a lot to do with your target market, your product price, your market conditions. All of these factors together are going to determine your revenue, that sales forecasted amount of money that you're going to make. Tonight, we're going to explore a few of these factors and help you create a sales or revenue forecast plan for your business. These are the topics we'll discuss. The benefits of sales forecasting. Secondly, what you need to know to effectively forecast your sales. And thirdly, your roadmap to your sales and revenue forecast. So these are the three things. Be sure to write notes, and there will be a replay of this if you miss some notes, and you can go in and sort of fill in the gaps. But these are our three topics for tonight. Before we get going, I want to introduce myself. I'm Cheryl Garrison, founder and CEO of 50-something Lifestyle. It's a coaching and speaking business, and I'm also an author. It is actually an umbrella, under an umbrella company called Top Leaders, which I founded, my husband and I founded several years ago as a training business for the network marketing industry. And we just decided to open this business under that umbrella. I'm a champion for women over 50 who want to live their best life financially, personally, and spiritually. I love to work with women over 50 who are in that transition part of their life. They're coming out of layoff or downsizing, out of empty nest, out of a lot of things that they didn't expect to happen in their life, but here they are. And I create the resources to help them through that transition. And one of those things is starting your own business. And so I'm a 30-year plus entrepreneur. I started my first business when my oldest daughter was 4, and she is now 35. So I've raised 3 children from home, had multiple businesses, made 7 figures, above 7 figures, and been pretty successful as a business person, and enjoyed the freedom and independence that comes with being my own CEO. not having to punch a clock. When my children were in school, I was able, even if I was doing a consulting job, going into a client's office, it was understood that at school time for school to let out, I was out. And so that's the independence that can come from being your own boss. So that's me. And it also sort of tells you, having had all these years of experience as a business person, also having training and certifications and mentors and learning a lot along the way, I feel very qualified to help women start and grow and manage their business. So that's about me. So let's get going. The benefits of forecasting sales. There are many benefits. I've highlighted 4. The benefits are the why. Why do it? You could say, well, I don't need to do this. This is a step that I have a business plan. I don't really need to do this. Well, when you forecast your sales, this piece can fit right into, you can drop it right into your business plan, and it will give it more meat. It will be something that you can use for investors. And it also is as like benefit number 1, it's a roadmap or planning to for the business activity that you will have over the course of your business. So it's like a map of where you're going to go and how you're going to get there. It also will help you predict your revenue and your profit. When you forecast sales and you take your revenue minus your expenses, you get to that profit. And if you know those numbers ahead of time, at the end of the forecast, you have a better chance of being profitable, much so more so than the person who is just throwing out numbers and not doing it with any kind of a theory behind it and just operating on a shoestring. The third benefit is that it will help you create promotions that directly relate to sales growth. If you know your sales or your revenue forecast, you can create promotional programs that help you get to those sales. If you don't know them, then you're just throwing out stuff. So I'll do a webinar here, I'll do a training here, or I'll sell this product here, or I'll sell this product there, but you really don't have a plan for how much of that product you will sell or how many clients you will add. So knowing that number will help you create promotions that get you to those clients and get you to those product sales. And fourthly, the benefit of forecasting sales is it will increase your ability to identify products and services your customers are buying. After your forecasted period, you'll be able to go back and say, well, for this product, this is my biggest selling product based on my documented information. So my next forecast, I'm going to include more of this product within that forecast because these are the products that my customers are buying. So it gives you some data to do future forecasting and expansion. So the benefits are important. The why of forecasting is very critical to moving to that next level of business. And that next level is to be a profitable business. When I first started my business, I was I had an interior design business, and I did dreadful. My first year, I made $2,000, and it was because I did not do any of this. I just started trying to go out and help get people to buy draperies and window treatments or wallpaper or rugs and all of that. And I did have some sales, but my expenses were so high, I ended up with $2,000 because I didn't plan. I didn't forecast. I started working with a mentor my second year, and I was able to do this, and I went from $2,000 to $200,000. So this is not something to take lightly. It can be the difference between your success and your freedom, and then you just spending a lot of time and making no money. So there are some things you will need to know and have at your disposal to do accurate sales forecasting. And these are your expenses. You're going to start with your expenses, your financial projections, that's really your revenue and your sales, the timeline for this forecast, your targeted market, because you really want to know where these sales are coming from, and then the price. You can't do any forecasting without knowing what your prices are. And so we'll talk about those different assumptions. I told you at the beginning that forecasting is based on factors and assumptions. And these are 5 of those assumptions: your expenses, your projections, your financial projections, your timeline, targeted market, and your price. So let's start with your expenses. Actually, forecasting starts with expenses, not revenue. Revenue are the sales, the total of the sales for a period of time. But if you don't know your expenses, how can you predict your sales? If you predict you're going to make $20,000 without taking into account your expenses, and your expenses are $15,000, you end up with $5,000 profit, which is not enough to sustain a business. So you want to start with your expenses. I have a client who has a very unique business idea that's, when it gets to the market, it's going to be pretty amazing. And in the process of figuring out how much money she was going to earn, how she could complete her sales part of her business plan, each time we met, I was emphasizing, until you get a real keen idea of your expenses, we cannot predict what you're going to earn. And until we did that, she didn't really understand it. Once we got those numbers, and she saw how easy it was at that point to, oh, okay, I know now this is what it's going to cost me to produce this product. These are my expenses involved. Now I know what I have to forecast in order to reach the kind of profit that I want in my business. So it starts with expenses. And there are 2 types: fixed expenses and variable expenses. And some of you probably already know these, but your fixed expenses are those things that are predictable. They don't change. They, from month to month, from year to year, they pretty much stay the same, especially things like your rent, your phone, when you set up your business, getting a logo, getting your business cards. If you have a website, that amount that it costs to host that site is going to be the same. Any licenses that you have to get to set up your business, like an LLC or get a trademark, those are mostly one-time expenses, and they are static. So those fixed expenses, you want to, step 1, you want to track those. You want to write those down in your prediction. So my fixed expenses for every month, you may say, is $1,000. That's what it costs me in fixed expenses to run my business every month. Secondly, you have variable expenses, and these are the ones that fluctuate. Things like expenses involved in your manufacturing process. If you're manufacturing, it's going to be your materials and your supplies, your packaging. These can change, your shipping, all these things can change based on how many, the weight of a product. These are not static expenses, but you can still predict them out. If you know that the cost of your product is a certain amount, and then you add on top of it what the possible packaging costs are going to be, then you can add those with your fixed expenses. If you have a business like I do, a coaching business, it's not a very, there are not a lot of expenses attached. Most of the expenses come from just sweat equity, my own work. And so I have to give a value to the hours that I'm going to spend developing the products. So those would be my expenses. So think about your variable and your fixed expenses and come up with that amount, because that's the first part of your forecasting. And you're going to write that number and set it aside. So once you have that, we go to the next thing in sales forecasting. And like I said, this isn't a long training because it's a very simple process, but just knowing some of these things will help you get through it. Revenue forecasting is a calculation of the amount of money that you will receive from sales during a particular period of time. So it's your sales. These are these calculated sales that are going to be based on some things. They're not just numbers you're going to pull out of the sky, like I said. And so let's look at what they're going to be based on. These are the three factors: your timeline, the price of your product or service, and the forecasted number of units or clients that are going to be coming in and out of your business. Once you get these three factors, you can come up with the actual revenue. And then once you have your revenue, you can subtract your expenses and you will have a predicted amount of profit for your business. So we're going to talk about each of these very briefly. A timeline or a time frame for your forecast. This is something that you can decide. Some people who are taking this class tonight may want to predict and forecast sales from this point to the end of 2018. The recommended forecast is 1 year, from April to April, so that you have 12 months of data. That is the recommended forecast. Once you get that 1 year, you can go out further 3 years, 5 years, and forecast so that you know how you're going to expand as you move forward in time. So get that time together, because it's going to be really important when you get to this section of your sales forecasting. Once you have that timeline, which I again recommended 1 year, then you should look at your price. This is a very crucial piece, because knowing what you want to charge for a product is going to really determine how much money you can make with that product. And these are the three factors in pricing that you want to consider. This is where you need to beware, because there are some pitfalls in pricing. Now, if you're a part of a network marketing business or a franchise, some of these things are already predetermined in your price, which is a good thing, because then you can just take your timeline, your price, and then the only other piece that you're going to add to it is your revenue minus your expenses. But just in case you ever decide, if you do have a business idea that is like one of my clients is an event planner. And so those prices have to come from her own products within that service. My coaching prices are determined by the different products that I have developed. Another client is a publisher. She writes books. And so her prices are determined by the price of those books. So your first part of pricing is the cost of goods or service. What does it cost you to create or manufacture your product or service? If your price is $5, if that's what it costs you, then you may double that and price it at $5 or $10. If you are looking, depending on your profit level that you want to make, you may actually price it at $15 based on what you want to be able to allocate for yourself and for future expansion of your business. So pricing is just not something you pull out of the sky. It's based on some data. There's also some rules against underpricing and overpricing your products. Underpricing can be devastating. If it takes you $10 to manufacture a product and you're pricing it at $12, you have underpriced that to where at the end of that period, you'll find yourself out of business. Overpricing has the same effect. If the price of your product the market doesn't bear it to be something that you should be charging $10 for, but you're charging $25, and you're not really able to show the client or the customer that that $25, that client is not willing to pay that amount, then you won't have any sales. So either way, you'll either have too few sales or you'll have no sales. So you should find that median price that gets you to cover your expense of manufacturing and creation, and also gives you a profit to put in your bank account, and also an amount for future expansion and product development. So one of the biggest things you can do, one of the most practical things you could do with pricing, is look at your competition. Look at 5 competitors. What are they charging? And then find a average of those prices. Make sure your price falls within that range so that you are within what the industry and the market can bear. So I encourage you to spend some time researching the market, researching your industry, and coming up with pricing. And you'll have multiple products in some cases, and so you'll be able to price those based on research. Like for me, I have coaching products, I have books, and then I have conferences that I will be, or workshops that I charge for. So I have to be able to look at what the industry is charging and be able to price my products, and then have 3 prices, which means I'm going to have 3 different sales revenue figures, and then those together are going to equal my total revenue. So hopefully that makes sense. Any questions, be sure to jot those down, and I'll be willing to answer those questions for you. So let's go ahead. Now we have our price, we have our timeline. We're going to forecast for a year. We have our expenses set aside. Our timeline is there. We now know that we're going to price our product at this certain amount. And I'm going to use some figures. So I know my expenses for them every month is $1,000. For my timeline, it's a year. So I know it's a 12-month period, which means I'm going to have $12,000 in expenses. So I have my timeline, I have my price of, let's say I'm going to look at we'll just throw something out there. I'm going to say charge $500 for a product or a service. And the market can bear that. And that's just one of the products. And so now the final piece of that is the number of units and clients or clients that will take for me to reach that revenue, it's going to make me profitable. Remember, we talked about your target market. Who is buying your product? How easily can you get to that market? Do you get that through that market through social media, through networking, or through over the phone? How are you getting to them? Because that's going to determine how many of those clients you can service within the allocated time you have to run your business. So if you're a part-time business, you're not going to have as many clients as a person who's running their business full-time, because you realistically do not have the time to market and get those people within your business, not as a full-time person. So think about your allocated time. If you say you want to add 10 to 15 clients to your business every day, you're part-time, you have 2 hours a day that you're working, how realistic is that? So think about that number of clients or products that you need to sell and that you can sell within that target market that will support your desired goals, that will get you to your sales goal. So let's go back and take those $12,000 in expenses. Then I have a year that I'm doing that. So at 12 months out of the year, I have $500 per product. How many clients do I need to have so that I can first pay that $12,000 and then I can have some profit for each of these months based on this $500? Does that make sense? So you're taking all three of these things, your time, your price, your number of units, and it ends up being your forecast. It's a very simple formula. Your total units or product, the price of those products equals your sales forecast. So example, I'm going to add 30 clients. Right? This is just an example, 30 clients within the 12-month period at $500 per client, right? And that is going to give me what, $15,000 in total sales for the year for that one product. Very simple. Once you do this, then you know that, okay, if I have $12,000 in expenses, this one product in my business will pay my expenses. So then if I have 3 more products, whatever those products are, and I'm pricing them, then I'm getting to my profit. Here's a simple roadmap that sort of explains this. So this is, we're going to assume this is a coaching business, but you can add anything here. 20 clients could be 20 sales of a certain product. So 20 clients within this year at $500 each will give this person $10,000 in revenue. The second product are books, 30 books at $15 each, $450 in revenue. And let's say this person is doing conferences and they are able to get 100 attendees at $49 each. That's $4,900. So for the year, there's a $15,350 total revenue. That will be minus whatever expenses that it takes to get to these clients. Hopefully that makes sense in terms of reaching your forecast and knowing that at the end of it, you will be profitable. All you do is plug in the numbers, but you're basing it, of course, on some of these factors that we've already predetermined. So you know the market will bear you to, in this example, to add 20 clients. and the time that you have to run your business, you will be able to add 20 clients in a year. Now that $500 could be, for each of those, could be $2,500. Whatever the price for that product is, you're gonna plug it in there. So let's say you're selling skincare products, and you may have 4 or 5 categories of products, and you know that within that skincare, the market can bear that you can add 200 people in your business who are going to purchase that, let's say, skin toner at the price of $79. Then you'll be able to see the revenue. So just plug in the numbers and forecast out. And you don't want to predict too low, and you don't want to predict too high. You want to make this prediction something that at the end of your 1-year period, you will see growth in your business because you have identified what you're going to do. So if you look at that 20 clients and you have 12 months out of the year, then you would say, okay, I need this many clients per month in order to get to this goal so I can reach my forecast. It's very simple. And I will send you a couple supporting documents where you can just plug in some numbers. And there's also the Excel template when you can see you can forecast for 12 months what you will earn. And that's sales forecasting. Congratulations, you have learned about sales forecasting. And I hope you learned something with this training that you can go out and with your business plan, be able to get your business off to a good start. Now, if you don't have a business plan, I do have a business plan class. Just message me and I can get you the link to go, and it will teach you how to create a business plan in less than 2 hours. So you can take that plan, plug in this sales forecast, and you are on your way to business success, taking that $2,000 a year and turning it into $200,000. So how many of you can benefit from having help from like-minded women who are traveling the same journey as you? I want to introduce to you a program that I'm doing. It's a one-on-one 8-week coaching program. It's called Next Steps Business Success Intensive. 8 weeks of coaching on how to start if you haven't started. If you have started, how to take that business and turn it from zero to profit. That's what my goal for you is in this program. If you are interested in it, you'll get 8 one-on-one coaching sessions. You'll get business resources that will help you plan. We will also be doing a business plan within that. You'll get weekly reviews and accountability, a proven system of practices that will help you get up and running quickly, and then workshops and other supporting materials that will help you become a true business person. We talk a lot about mindset of a business person and how to truly run your business from the standpoint of a CEO. So if you're interested in getting involved in this 8-week program, you can email me at 50somethinglifestyle@gmail.com and schedule your strategy session. I'll send you my scheduler. You can actually go in and schedule a session to talk to me, and we can see if you're a good candidate for that program. Thank you so much for attending the workshop and the mini class, and I look forward to helping all of you who are looking for help, and have a very good evening. Good night.